It's back to school time, which means all the little boys and girls are going back to school. Awesome. However, there is a potential for their teachers and other workers at the school to be injured. In this video, I'm going to go through who is covered at school for workers' compensation. Hint, it's not just who's on payroll. And I'm also going to go through some of the unique features specifically for schools. This year, I'm particularly happy and proud because my oldest is starting kindergarten. That's him right there. He's so excited. He's going to be starting at a public charter school. We thought this would be a perfect opportunity to bring some light on an important segment of our population, teachers and other school workers. This particular topic is near and dear to my heart because my mother growing up was a classified worker for Head Start as a teacher's aide. I also have other family members who are teachers, and we have many clients work in the school district. This topic is in line with our mission to empower clients everywhere through education on the legal process. So please like this video to help us with our mission. Now let's get right into it. Who does workers' compensation cover at school? 1. Certificated workers or employees, i.e. teachers. 2. Classified employees, anybody who's working there without a certification. 3. It covers students, if that student is participating in a work experience or vocational education program. 4. Volunteers. This could be parents or other relatives that volunteer and are injured. However, this is not universal. There would have to be a resolution to make these volunteers employees under workers' compensation, but many districts have done that. You'd have to check with your own district to see if you would qualify. And 5. PTA, Parent-Teacher Association workers who are injured. So what injuries do we normally see from people working at schools? There are the normal slip and falls or other orthopedic injuries, but one thing you may not be aware of is we actually get a lot of people who are assaulted by students, especially if they're working in the special education department. And sometimes people don't take them seriously. They think, okay, well, a second grader hit you, so what? But no, these students can be big. They could have been held back, and this person is like 6 foot tall and 200 pounds. Okay, I'm a little bit exaggerating, but you get what I'm saying. These should be taken seriously, and sometimes they're not. And these injuries can be real. We've had people being punched in the base of the neck. We have people just being hit and then falling over and getting injured that way. So these things are definitely real. The other thing we see is psychological injuries. This could have happened on a specific day or something over time. Specific day would be something like there's a school shooter and you had to be on lockdown and you had to protect your students, and now you are having depression, anxiety, PTSD, that kind of thing because of this event. But it could also be from stress on the job over time. You would not believe all of the crazy administrative requirements on these teachers. They have the job of teaching, which is what you think of their job, but they have all this pile of paperwork they have to do at the same time. They have to keep tabs on all the students on this paperwork, and they have to do what's pretty much an impossible task sometimes, especially if they are undermanned. And what are they going to do? They're just stressing out to get all this done, and this can have a psychological effect on the teacher. The next things we're going to talk about, they're not universal, but there are common threads that tend to be seen across school districts. 1, they tend to be self-insured. What that means is instead of buying workers' compensation insurance for their employees, what they do is they have a fund set aside. They pay out whenever they have an injured employee. They do not usually administer themselves. So you might be dealing with an insurance administrator, but the districts themselves pay out. And so what we see there when this happens is there seems to be a closer connection between the TPA, the third-party administrator, and the actual employer. So there usually is more communication, and they can be more employer-level investigation. They're going to be talking to a lot more people, saying they report it, that kind of thing. A result of them being self-insured, they're very tight-fisted with their money. You're like, I want to settle, but I got to get it from them. And it feels like prying it from their dead fingers sometimes. It can be very difficult. And there is a reason for this. Their thought, and I get it, is that the money is really for the students. And if we're paying it to people, then we're taking it away from the student. But if they were really concerned about that, they would get work comp insurance and not have to worry about it. They're choosing to do it this way by having a section of money that's earmarked. That's what they're choosing to do. They have to make sure that they're paying out what is adequate. They can't rip off the injured worker just because they didn't want to get workers' comp insurance. So we have to make sure that that the injured worker is getting all the benefits that they're entitled to and has an accurate settlement at the end. A lot of these districts will not allow settlement via CNR, or compromise and release. Instead, they will only proceed forward with a stipulation settlement. If you're wondering what these two types of settlement are, I will link to my video on that subject. A lot of these districts require school board approval before they can go forward with a settlement offer. Let's say we have final reports, we've done the numbers, the adjuster and us agree, and we're ready to go forward to settlement. The school board isn't going to meet for another 3 months. Now we have to wait 3 months for we can get the school board approval before we can go forward with the settlement. What about benefits? Well, I will link to my video on work comp benefits, but right now what I want to talk about is something very unique to the school districts is benefits provided under the education code. Unlike temporary disability benefits that are not taxed, these are taxed. The first benefit is industrial accidental leave. This covers the first 60 days after your date of injury, and this is before your temporary disabilities start. The next one is salary continuation. This could be available for up to 52 weeks if you qualify. In a regular case, if this was as much as you were making before your injury, temporary disability only covers 2/3. So salary continuation will actually make it so that you make the same amount that you had been earning before your injury. Some of the other benefits that you're able to use is you can use your sick leave and also your vacation pay. Some districts offer 50% pay or differential, and that is a little bit extra bump. That is the difference between what you had been earning and what the cost of a substitute is. We do see temporary disability benefits changing sometime, and that's for workers if it's during spring break, Christmas break, summer vacation, when you really wouldn't have gotten any money in anyway. Then it can affect it. Next, the 39-month rule. If you were a permanent employee and you can no longer work, eventually you will be added to a 39-month rehire list. Now, at the time that you are physically able to go back to work, a teacher, you would be given a job back. If you were a classified worker and there is a job, then you would be offered it. So that was a general overview of some of the perks and differences for people who work at schools. If you need information specific to your case, please give us a call or text this console, and we'll be very happy to talk to you about your specific case. Thank you. Bye. Very tight-fisted. You're like, I gotta pry it from your dead fingers before you can get the money from them sometimes. Okay. They tend to be very tight-fisted. So you want to settle and you want to get the money from them, but it feels like you're trying to pry it from their dead hands. It's so hard sometimes to get money from them.